Hello, this is Allie, the Perception Trainers, author of The Perception Diet, and today I want to talk to you about what to do if you feel like you don't have a passion in life, or if you feel like maybe you do have a passion but you literally just have no idea what it is. Like you're so far away from having any idea of what makes you passionate that you're really just feeling like if you do have one that you have no idea what it is. So this actually came to me through a video request from someone who messaged me on my Facebook page and was saying, I'm going to university. I've kind of lived this life where I've done, the school thing, and I've gone to university, and I've taken the degree that I think I should, and that will probably get me a job, but I don't feel like it's my passion. And because I've put so much work and so much effort in my life into this kind of path that I've been on, I don't know what I'm passionate about. I don't know what I'm enthusiastic about. And then she said that, I have moments where I feel kind of passionate or excited about something, but those moments are fleeting and they never last very long. And then even if I do find something that I'm like, hey, this is something I'm really excited about, this is something I'm really passionate about, she said, I kind of give up because I think, well, I'm never going to be able to make money at this. This will never be financially viable for me. This is not, so what would be the point of me doing this if it's not ever going to be, something that I can live off of? I'm never going to be able to make a job out of this. Or, you just kind of tell yourself, what is the point? What the heck is this? And then the other element that I know is really common for people out there is you get to this place where you're working so hard in your life to do the things you think you should do. You're working so hard to live the life that you're living. So you're working the job that you think you should do. You're in the relationships you think you should be in. You're going to school. You're doing all the right things. And you know that it's not passion for you. You know that it's not what you want to be doing. You know that it doesn't light you up inside. But the thought of putting in effort to do something else at the end of that workday, at the end of that school week, at the end of those, or even before you go to work or before you go to school, is just so exhausting because you already feel so exhausted, right? That you feel like, oh man, taking on this challenge of finding something I'm passionate about when I'm already so exhausted, and all I want to do when I come home from work is sit down in front of the TV or sit down in front of YouTube or go on my phone to numb out and eat food and then go to sleep, just so that I can have enough energy to get up and do it all again tomorrow. Where is it that I'm going to find this energy to find my passion? And I think this was really the crux of the question, right? Is that I'm doing this life that I think that I should be doing. I know it's not my passion, but I don't know what is. I don't have the energy to go looking for it. And I feel like there's this risk that I'm going to put in all this energy to find this passion, and it's not going to be financially viable. I'm not going to be able to make a job out of it. I'm not going to be able to make a career out of it. Or it's too late. I'm too old. I'm not going to be good enough. Right? There's all this risk involved in putting in what you feel like is this very limited amount of energy you have into pursuing something that gives you no security, right? You're looking at it and you're saying, yeah, it would be great to have this passionate life. It would be great to do this thing that I'm super excited about. But it's going to require that I put in all this energy and this time and this motivation and this commitment and this exploration and this trial and error and all these things that finding your passion entails. And I might still have to work my shit job. I might still have to do this career that I'm not excited about. I might still have to live this life mostly, right, that I don't really want to be doing, and just have my my passion be this thing on the side that I do. And that doesn't seem worth it. So if that's where you're at, I hear you, okay? And really, we need to understand that as a collective community, we have dug ourselves into this ditch, right? We really have. The Industrial Revolution essentially set us up for this kind of life, right? Where we're just working to make a paycheck. We're shutting ourselves down. We're shutting down our creativity. We're going through the education system. We're getting jobs that are all designed around essentially factory work, right? So it's kind of funny and ironic. It's we're in this very weird growing pains situation right now, this transition right now, which is why I feel like this is so awkward for people right now, right? Because if we really think about this, the previous couple of generations, the thought of following your bliss and finding your passion and making a living doing something that you love just wasn't really on the radar, right? It wasn't what we were focused on. It wasn't what we were doing. We needed security. We wanted money. And the way that the economy, especially in the Western world, unfolded was the way that security was made and the way that financial abundance was achieved was through this kind of engineering of needs, right? So we know that we went from goods being sold to us based on their utility and based on what they're going to do for you and based on like how resilient they are and how long they're going to last you and what a great deal it is, to what it means about you, right? Why you need this thing. And we started to get this, the economy was essentially built and turned into what it is today, right? This supply and demand economy was built on this foundation of get the people to believe that they need or want these things that they don't really need. Get them to spend money on items like, right, going from everyone has one pair of shoes and two pairs of pants and they're gonna last them forever, to like everyone needs the latest pair of shoes. And the latest pair of shoes is gonna change every other week, and so you're gonna have like 400 pairs of shoes. And right, like this is what stimulated the economy because it made people spend their money and it created jobs, right? So now we have factories and we have companies and we have corporations that are constantly pumping out the newest, latest, greatest thing, right? That people need to make and machines need to make and factories need to make. And it created this whole like situation where we are essentially, right, the jobs come from, these are the things we need, right? And these are the things we want. These are the things that we're creating supply and demand for. Everyone's going to go into a field where we can create and produce these things. And people are going to buy them because they want them and it's going to fulfill them in some way and it's going to mean something about them. Blah, 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 blah. And in the process of all of that, right, most of us lost connection with who we are, right? In this system, it's really, really, really that we have been trained from day one to be a factory worker, right? To be someone who can show up, sit down, do something for 8 hours a day straight, right? Do your output, do your thing, get your paycheck, spend your paycheck, right? Like go home, spend your paycheck, do it all again the next day. That is like, when people say like we're like batteries in the matrix, that's kind of what we are, right? We're living that life where we're just working to consume, working to consume, working to consume. And most of us probably don't look at ourselves and our situation like that's what we're doing, right? Like I know if you're in university, you're thinking, I'm not just working to consume, like I'm trying to get myself a real job, I'm trying to get myself a real career so that I can have enough money to have a house and do all these things that I'm supposed to do. But if you really look at it, right? If it's not your passion, if it's not what you love, if you're just doing it because you think it's going to get you a paycheck, if you're just doing it because your parents want you to do it, if you're just doing it because you think that it looks good in society, right? You're kind of a cog in the wheel. That's why you made that choice, because you believed it was going to give you security. You believed it was going to give you love and acceptance from your parents, from society, which is another form of security, right? You believed it was going to mean something about you to be this person who did this thing. And that is the first thing you kind of have to get honest with yourself about, is that why are you doing what you're doing? And is it really all that valuable, right? How does it make you feel to be living that life is just the first question to ask yourself. And there's no right and there's no wrong. If you really want to go and get a job that you know you're not passionate about, but that's going to make you money so that you can have vacations and a car and a nice house, and you just want to do that, seriously, all the power to you. There's nothing wrong with doing that. And if that's the life you want to live, live it and just embrace it and own it and do that, right? But if you feel like, no, I want to have passion in my life, I want to have purpose in my life, I want to do something that means something to me, right? First thing is you're going to have to get clear on your values, right? You're going to really have to stop and look at your life and look at where you're investing your time, look at where you're investing your energy, look at where you're investing what other people think of me and what other people are going to think and what do my parents think and what society thinks and how is this going to make me look and am I going to get the right thing and blah, 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 blah. And look at where you're leaking all that energy, right? So the first thing is to realize that if you're not living your passion, it's usually because, and you're feeling so exhausted, right? The first reason that you're feeling exhausted is because you're leaking your energy, right? Because as you don't live your passion, as you don't live a life that's in alignment with who you are, as you don't live in this way that's you going on your individual personal hero's journey, which we're all designed to go on, right? You are going to be looking for love on the outside because you have to. Because as you reject the hero's journey, as you reject finding your passion, as you reject going on that path, that scary, unpredictable, it doesn't have a guarantee of anything path, right? That's where you learn self-love. That's where you learn who you are. That's where you learn how to really be your own best friend, your own cheerleader, the one that believes in you when no one else believes in you, right? That's where you find all that inner resource. That's where you find all that inner strength. That's where you find all that inner connection. And so if you're not doing that, you're going to be reliant upon everyone around you approving of you and giving you love and giving you acceptance and giving you praise and thinking you're great and all of these things in order to feel okay, right? Because that's where your energy leak is happening. So that's the two reasons why you feel exhausted, right? Is that you're disconnected from yourself when you're not living a life of your passion, and therefore you can't feed yourself, you can't nourish yourself, you feel disconnected from you, and then you have to leak your energy and your perspective and what everyone else thinks of you in order to get love, because that's what you're going to think is the only source of love, right? Is outside of you, because you're not giving it to yourself, because you're not connected to yourself, right? So that's the first thing to consider. You're exhausted because you're leaking your energy, because you're not loving yourself, because you don't know yourself, right? Part of discovering your passion and part of going on that whole journey of realizing who you are here and what you're here to do as a part of the collective is really, truly, deeply getting to know yourself, really, truly, deeply getting to know your wounds and integrating them, really, truly getting to know your emotional stuff and processing that stuff and being with that stuff and being with yourself. So this is the second thing, right? Is that a lot of the reason that most people don't ever find their passion is not because they're really actually that tired or whatever. It's just because there's this sense, there's this knowing that it's going to be hard, right? And I think that we fluff it up a little bit too much in our culture and our society right now, as though just stepping into your passion should just be this thing that you do, that you just like know that you love art and you're just going to step into drawing and then your life is going to be amazing and then you're an artist, right? That's almost never how it happens. I'm going to say that's never how it happens, okay? Even if you know what your passion is, you're still going to go through a whole bunch of years of just like crippling self-doubt and feeling like you can't do it, and rejection and people telling you you can't do it, and you having to pick yourself up off the floor over and over and over again, because that is the hero's journey, right? It's the end goal of living your passion and living your purpose is like the cherry on top of the cake. It's not really the point, okay? You need to understand that the journey from I'm not living a life of my passion to I figured out what my passion is and I can actually express that in the world, that journey is the journey of self-discovery. That journey is the journey of self-awakening. That journey is the journey of integration of wounds. That journey is the journey of healing all of the parts of yourself that you have rejected, reintegrating them into your being, knowing that, yeah, culture rejected you, your parents rejected you, all of these things happen. You were told over and over again, you can't be who you are, you can't be who you are, you can't be who you are. And you taking the journey to figure out what your passion is the path of you integrating all those wounded aspects so that you can express them and you can be them and you can live as yourself. Okay, so that's the reward, right? The reward isn't even really doing something that you're passionate about. The reward at the end is going to be knowing that you know who you are and that you can be that whether people like that or not. And then you're going to have the strength to live your passion. So most of us are not doing that because we know that journey is hard and scary. We know that journey is lonely. We know that journey is isolating. We know that journey is going to be a challenge and we're going to face our deepest shit, right? So and I made this video before, why finding your passion means facing your deepest insecurities, because that's what this is, okay? So if you're feeling exhausted and you're feeling like I don't know what my passion is and I don't know what to do and I'm feeling like I can't do this and just know that you're probably just scared to face all that stuff inside yourself that you've never looked at. And so what I would suggest is take a look at my emotional mastery series. Just start to go in and start to deal with these aspects of yourself that you have rejected. Okay, because this is the biggest bottom line, is that in order to discover your passion, you have to figure out, you have to reintegrate all the rejected aspects of yourself, because you have to think of yourself like a body, like the human body, right? Without the kidneys, the whole thing can't function. Without the liver, the whole thing can't function. Without the brain, the whole thing can't function. If we cut off any aspect of ourselves, we derail the whole system, right? Or we weaken the whole system. And so if we're rejecting aspects of ourselves, we're never going to really know what our passion is, because parts of ourselves that are there to function and serve the whole of you living your passion are being cut off, right? You're not looking at them, you're not giving them energy, you're not allowing them to be, and you probably have all these stories in your head about how they're not right and how they're not good and how you shouldn't do this, right? And you're not allowed to be this way because your parents didn't like it and your friends didn't like it and society didn't like it and da-da-da-da-da. Yeah, we've all been through that. You're gonna have to learn to love those parts. So that's that. And then the next thing that I really, really, really want to drive home is this. Take finding your passion and making money and make them separate, just for a while. It doesn't mean that I'm saying that you will never ever make money doing what your passion is. What I'm saying is this: if you put the pressure on finding your passion, that it also has to be financially viable, and you need to know how it's going to be financially viable, and you need to have this whole trajectory laid out before you even start, you're never going to get there. When I was starting Perception Trainers, I had another job. I always had another job until this became a financially viable option for me, to the point where there was no stress, right? I didn't have to, make clients get into long contracts with me to make sure I would have the money or blah, 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 blah. This was always just my service. And I really want to drive this point home, that a huge part of finding your passion is going to be giving it away for free or engaging in it, even though it's, just a pastime that you do that you can't see that it's going to make you money, or you can't see that it's going to be a financially viable option, or any of these things. You have to completely let that go, right? Give it away for free, engage in it even though you don't know where it's going. Just follow the little inklings, and don't shut yourself down as soon as you're like, well, I'm interested in taking this class, but I don't know how that's going to serve me, so forget it, right? That is how you shut yourself down. You're not going to reveal your whole passion to yourself in one fell swoop. You're not going to figure it out like that. It's going to be one thing you try at a time. But if you're saying, unless I can see how this is going to make me money and how this is all going to work out in the end, I'm not going to take the first step, you'll never get there. So you have to let yourself off the hook. Forget about it making you money. Forget about what it's all going to mean. Forget about how it's all going to come together. Forget about the end goal. It doesn't fucking matter. Just do what you're sort of having a curiosity about right now. Stop shutting down that little inkling of curiosity. Get yourself together, get your energy together, and say, yeah, I'm exhausted, yeah, whatever, but I'm still going to try this anyways. I'm going to push through the exhaustion. I'm going to push through the I don't know how this is all going to work out. I'm going to push through I can't see how this is going to be anything, and I'm going to do it anyways. And you're going to notice that as you start to do that, this is how you start to energize yourself. You will start to be less exhausted the more you engage in your curiosities and stop making them have to be something, okay? Just engage in your curiosity. A part of the reason you're so exhausted is because you don't engage in anything you're excited about. It's because you don't engage in anything you're curious about. It's because you shut down all your curiosities by saying, I don't know how this is going to end up being something for me, so forget it. You've got to stop. Take that off the table. Forget about it. You may end up being one of these people who works a job and has a passion on the side. But the thing is, if that is ultimately true, the passion on the side will fill you so much that working the job won't be so miserable. That what you're doing right now won't be so horrible. It really won't. You'll be able to, it will change what you're doing. It will change what you're making your money. It will change your experience of what the thing that makes you money, because you will have this other thing that's filling you. And it will change how you express at your job and in your relations and all these things. It'll all come together. But, so take that off the table. Stop shutting yourself down before you even start. Stop trying to figure it out. It doesn't matter. Figure out what you value, figure out what you like, figure out what you're curious about, love the wounds, go ahead. See you in the next video.